What's going on, people? Quick announcement. There's not one, but two hustling packages below the video. Check that out if you want to improve your hustleability. Alright, now to the rest of the video. It's going to be perhaps a little creepy. I don't know. I thought it was a little creepy. But the title of this joint, how much for the rest of the porn? This happened a long time ago. Probably second year in the business. Because you can't do this today. You just can't. It's just not going to work out like that for you. But I bought this unit that was chock full of really cool vintage and antique furniture. I mean, literally falling out. Everything in there was antique, vintage, a lot of really cool stuff. And to really make the cake super sweet, it was all wrapped up, bubble wrapped, padding, blankets. I mean, there was no harm whatsoever done to any of these items. I mean, they were in immaculate condition. Truly wonderful stuff. So, me being the guy that I am, I had them in the various sales channels, eBay, Craigslist, personal channels, email lists, so on and so forth. And I got this call from Craigslist, and you know, it's a crazy Craigslist story, but it's also a storage auction story since that's where the inventory came from. So, guy calls me up, and I can tell he's an older gentleman. And he's super cool, because, you know, we have a conversation. And he's like, "Hey, Sonny, I see that you have a lot of stuff that I used to have. And I want to get a few pieces for my new home." I said, "What do you mean your new home? You make it sound like the kids are going to cut your nuts off and put you in the kennel." And he says, "That's a very appropriate description of what they're doing to me." Essentially, he was getting up there in age, and he was pretty sharp, but he had moments where, you know, he wasn't so sharp, and his family was worried, so they were going to put him in what I guess is called assisted living. Is where you don't have a caretaker, but there are people around to help you out in case you get in trouble. And that's where he was going. So he was living on his own, doing pretty well, but you know, power of attorney deals everything. But this guy was like, well, I would say he was sharp. He was telling me, he's like, "See, they think they know everything. It's like, I got $250,000 in the account they don't know about, and I am going to buy myself some stuff." I was like, "Bring it on, Daddy, bring it on." So we set up a time, and he comes, and this is just before the warehouse. So I've got stuff like all over the place. And he comes, and he meets me in my garage. So that's where I had a lot of it, because the stuff was like I said, it was just awesome. So he comes to the garage, and he's just looking at stuff, and I'm looking at him because he has like this look of deja vu on his face. And I'm like, "Dude, what's going on?" He's like, "When I was married, we had this exact same furniture." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "We had this credenza, we had this. No, and he's just like, he said, "If I had pictures, I would show you," because he's like, this is just awesome. Because, you know, and he went on to tell me that he lost his lovely wife. You know, she preceded him to glory, as he put it. And, you know, it was like I said, he was a cool dude, really sharp. And the guy used to be a rocket scientist. And I was like, "Get out of here." The dude worked for NASA. I was like, way cool. You know, then all of my nerd tenants just came out, and we were having this conversation. And, you know, he was telling me where he was going. I went online, looked it up, saw the floor plan, and because the thing is, he didn't have any furniture, and it was already set up. So I was like, you know, we were vibing so well. And the dude was so cool. I was like, "Look, I'll go ahead and make sure it's delivered there." And he's like, "When?" I was like, "Shoot, we can make that happen today." So dude's like snatching up stuff. He's getting the CD. He's got the credenza. He's got the coat. I mean, he is pretty much gonna furnish this new spot like his old spot in life was, which, you know, is pretty cool when you think about it. Well, he's going through drawers and stuff, and one of the things that happened frequently when we were new in the storage auction business is processing wasn't complete. There was times that, you know, we thought we went through everything, but we didn't, and people were like, hey, what? Look, there's a dildo in this drawer, or something like that. I mean, it just happened. Well, he's going through the drawers, and I swear, you know, he's a white guy, you know, just for illustration purposes, and he, like, gets this look. I mean, he goes ghostly white, and I'm like, what's wrong? And I was like, oh, God, please don't let this guy have a heart attack in my garage. This is not what I am looking for today. So I go over to him. I say, hey, you know, you look like you need to sit down. Do I need to call someone? I've got the phone out. I am thinking of calling 911 because this is not good. So I look at him, and he sits down, and he's like, he calms down, and you know, the color comes back and everything, and he said, oh, I'm good. I just had a moment. And I was like, is this why are you going into homes? And he just looks at me and he says, yeah, like real quick. And my instinct said, that's not it. There's something going on. So I go to the drawer, and there's these pictures, black and white, and they're swingers, and there's like this group of people, and they're getting it on, and I just go through the pictures, right, and I'm like, oh, shoot, no wonder. It's like, hey, I'm a black dude, and this should have turned me white, because it was just very, very vivid for black and white pictures. And I was like, didn't tell him this, so I just took all the pictures out of the drawer, put them in an envelope, and just put them away, because if you know how to hustle, there's a vibrant market for that stuff online. Totally. I mean, you used to be able to sell this stuff on eBay before they start shutting down, because there was this thing that was called the Bonanza or something. It was kind of crazy, but you could just put oddball stuff up there, and people would bid crazy amounts. And I slipped a few pictures in there, and it's all about how you write your description. You can't do this now. Don't even try it. You'll lose your eBay account. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to get some scratch for this. And, you know, we conclude the deal, and I'm setting up the stuff to deliver. And then as my guys come, because I'm part of the delivery team, and I got two guys with me, my Latino brothers, and we go to the spot. It's really nice. It's really, really nice semi-retirement home, and we just load up the stuff. So I'm like, cool. And dude, you know, he spent about $1,500, and the unit only cost me, I think it was something really nominal. It was something like super cheap. I mean, like $30-$40. I mean, it was crazy cheap. And there was a lot of stuff left. You didn't buy everything. It was a 10 by 30 from the full, from the rooter to the tutor. And once again, going back to the nope, we're not home. Going back to the issue of processing and putting stuff together, you know, the boxes were still in the unit, because I pulled out the furniture first, because I rent the unit, and I knew I had plenty of time to deal with the boxes. So we get to his place and everything, and we love it, and I leave, and Buddy kind of hits me up, and he's like, how much for the pictures? And it's like, excuse me? He's like, how much for the pictures? And, you know, dude's got to be 70-something, right? Well, like I said, he's sharp, because when he came to my place, he drove up in the old Jag. You know, if you ever notice how a lot of formal techie guys, like rocket scientists or people that were in aerospace, they're always driving, like, really cool cars frequently. Like Jag, or like the guy that I know that built Ravinia, he's got, like, Porsche 911. There's always something. So he had, like, a vintage Jag and everything. And I'm just like, maybe, you know, there is Viagra. You know, he could be swinging. And I was like, well, let me think about it, because I wasn't going to give him a price until I knew what was up, because, you know, maybe just 2 years in the game, but I knew that those pictures had a lot of value. I mean, there was a lot of pictures. I mean, a lot of pictures. About 150 in the drawer alone. And, knowing what I know about how people store stuff, it's like if they were in the drawer, there's clearly some more in the boxes or somewhere else. So before I start giving prices, selling stuff, I'm going to find out what I have so I can really put true value on it. Well, I was like, I got your number. Let me think about it. I will get back to you. So a few days goes by. I finally get to the boxes, and true, word is bond, I found more pictures. Found all kind of kinky pictures. I mean, they were doing stuff. And what was really cool, some were very tastefully done. Some were kind of like, if you know what a Gibson girl is, some were like that. I mean, they were really cool. And just going through the pictures. And I was just like, wow, this is some really cool stuff, because there's porn and then there's art. And a lot of the stuff was porn and a lot of it was art, which really just enhanced the value. So I'm going through the stuff, and I call up the guy, and let's just call him Jimmy. And I was like, Jimmy, well, I don't know what you wanted exactly, but there is a lot of pictures, and I've looked it up, and these things, they don't go cheap. I like you, you are my BFF right now, but I mean, this is a lot of scratch. And he's like, well, how much for everything? And I'm like, because those pictures, eBay, anywhere from, because some, they weren't all in perfect conditions. That was another thing. Some had marks, water spots, age, splotches, and things like that. But conservatively, off the top of my head, I knew those pictures would get anywhere from $50 to maybe $300 per picture, depending upon condition, composition, so on and so forth. So I'm like, dude, we're talking, I just threw out like $7,000, dude, for everything. And he said sold. I was like, really? I was like, fuck. I could have went higher, right? And I'm like, okay. So I gathered up all the pictures and everything, and I take them to him. And this is where the wheels come off the bus. Wheels totally come off the bus. Because I'm looking at Jimmy, and, he's got the pictures, and he's looking at them. And he's not looking at them in a pervy way. He's looking at them in a loving and adoring way. And as I'm leaving, I look up, and because Jimmy's in this place now, he's hung a few pictures. I'm walking, and in one of the family pictures, I see one of the women that's in the pictures on the wall next to Jimmy, and it was his wife. Dude was a swanger. Not a swinger, a swanger. And apparently, when he was going through one of his dementia spells, because, like I said, I got to know him, he started fasting up. He would just go through periods where it wasn't Alzheimer's, where he would just like totally blank out, forget stuff, and needed to be taken care of. And then as it came, it would come and it would go. And when it came, he was pretty much helpless. And when it left, he was the man. And, it was really frustrating for him. He was on various medications and everything, trying to get it worked out. So when he was going through his first spell, his kids unloaded the house in the storage unit. And because he was going through these spells, and he was also a very private person based upon his proclivities, his kids didn't really know he had the money he had. So when he came back, he was like, okay, these are my accounts. This is where this is going. So long story short, dude had about $2 million that the kids didn't know about. Because if they knew about it and they were able to access his money, the unit, which was his unit, yeah, this is right. This is what he buys his own shit back. That's how deep this is. It's his unit, and they put it up in there. And because of his medical bills and stuff and everything is so expensive, they have to make an option on paying the medical bills or, paying the storage unit. Medical bills, life bills, food, gas, always trump storage unit rentals cost. So I'm like dying. We got $8,500 from this dude, and he bought his own shit back. I mean, if that isn't freaking awesome, I don't know what is. So, oh no, there's more. There's more. This is not the end of the story. So with this, like I said, I got the unit like under $100. I really don't remember how much because it was so cheap that I didn't put it on a list. I just knew that the instant I sold anything, I was in the profit zone. So we're going through that. I talked to my partner. I was like, look, you won't believe this shit, but the guy, it's his stuff. And my partner was pissed because she didn't really look at the pictures, and she's like, "Ooh, I missed it, right?" So we go through some stuff. We find movies. We find some more Polaroids. We find all kinds of stuff because they were, like I said, swingers. And I'm like, 85. After expenses and everything, we made $8,200 off this dude. He bought his own shit back. I mean, and it's like we could just give it to him. I mean, seriously, we could just give it to him because, I mean, seriously, this we are well in the profit zone. We're good. It's his stuff. I mean, seriously, and then my partner was like, well, he may go blank again, and we may buy it again. I was like, it could happen. So I called him up and I said, look, I've got some more stuff, and I'm just gonna bring it to you. I'm just gonna bring it to you because it's it's your stuff, and we're cool. Like I said, you're my BFF, dude. And he was really appreciative. So I took it back to him, and I go there, and his kids are there, and the daughter looks just like the wife, and I'm just like, I mean, 100% like the wife, head to toe. So I already know what she looks like naked, right? Because she looks like her mother. I mean, you see this a lot. Like, the daughter looks exactly like the mom. Same body. I mean, down to the toes, they're the same. And I'm just sitting here like, I know what you look like. I mean, I'm a perv, okay? I'm a perv. And the daughter's like, what is wrong with you? I was like, no, it's just been a long day. Because, I don't know what they know and what they don't know. Because this is such a strange-ass situation. Because did you know your father was a swinger? I don't want to be the guy to break that news to, Becky of Sunnybrook Farm. But, I didn't, and I was like, Jimmy, I've got some stuff in the car for you. Because for some reason, I just didn't know to bring it in because, didn't know. Because I'm walking in. Because the thing is, when you have an older person and you have kids involved, they're super, super nosy. I'm this big black guy hanging out with this little white guy, and we're talking like we have been out drinking together. And the daughter and the guy that she was with was not her husband. He was just a member. He was her do boy. I mean, she's clearly in charge because she was ordering Jimmy around. She was ordering him around. She tried to order me around, and I was like, no, I am not a member of this class. So she is on it. I mean, she's on it. She's like, what is going on? He's like, Dad, so tell me about your new friend. And Jimmy is like on it. And he's like, well, you know how I do volunteer work? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, well, this is Glendon, and I met him at a work release program. Oh, really, Dad? That is so wonderful, Dad. That is wonderful. I am dying on the inside. I am doing everything I can to keep a straight face because I am rolling. I was like, dude, I got to give it to you. That shit's brilliant because his daughter, she bought it hook, line, sinker. She was all over it because there was no other way that her dad and I could be friends. Other than he was saving my ass by being my mentor in the work release program. So, like I said, Jimmy and I vibe pretty well. He was really cool, so I just went with it, just rolled with it. I mean, it was damn near, it was seamless. And I was like, yeah, early in my life, I did some shit that was wrong. And, Jimmy's kind of helped me He's helping me see the way, how to live right, be an honorable person, and he's a great asset to me. And she's like, yeah, my dad's the best. He was a deacon in a church and blah blah blah. I was just like, your dad was fucking everything that was moving. If only you knew. And she's like, okay, well, at this point she's completely satisfied. She feels good. Her questions have been answered, so she thinks. And she and her boy leave. So after they leave, I am sitting down. I am on the floor. There are tears coming out of my eyes. Jimmy is cracking up. He's like, she bought it, man. I mean, and then there are many layers to this because Jimmy has a few personalities or sides that, let's just say there was the good Jimmy and there was the dark Jimmy. And both were fun. So I'm talking to dark Jimmy, and he's like, yeah, she bought it. He's like, she's always has been in my business. And I was like, so, Jimmy, does she have any clue to your proclivities? And he's like, not one. Agnes and I really hid that from the kids. I mean, that was our thing. He just sits there and he just tells me all this stuff and everything, and I'm getting all these stories and swing and how hard it was to meet people, and they had to have special clubs. You had to bring people in by invitation. It was just freaking awesome, right? Because, I love shit like that. I really do. We're talking. And so I was like, so you have all this money. She doesn't know. And he's like, well, I've paid her back for all the things that she paid for because, like I said, Jimmy had money. It's just when he went blank, he didn't know where it was. And, it just, it would deeply concern you. Anybody, if you were in that type of situation. So we are just talking and chopping it up, and then there's a knock on the door. And his daughter. And we're just sitting there. And I had to go back to convict mode. I'm like, hey, it's your daughter. Hey, long time no see. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Being real stupid. Because she clearly sensed something. That's why she came back. Because she's like, Dad, may I talk to you for a moment? And he's like, well, you can just talk to me, you can say whatever you want to say with Glendon around. And she's like, Dad, as he was leaving, it dawned upon me that, no offense, Glendon, no offense, but I've never known you to have a black friend. And at this point, my ears perk up because I am getting so much joy out of this. Because it's like she has no clue that her dad, because in the picture, Jimmy was putting his Jimmy in some ebony poutine. Jimmy was fucking everything. When I say everything, black, white, Asian, there was all kinds of stuff in there. So clearly, a man that would put his penis in the black woman's vagina does not really have that many problems with black people. Because, your penis is your friend. You don't just put that anywhere. And I don't want to hear it, women. I don't want to hear it. But anyway, she's just like really, all of a sudden, she's just on it. She's like, something's not right. And it's just kind of falling apart because she's asking questions. And, Jimmy is still sharp, but, whoa, didn't see that. Jimmy is still sharp, but he is kind of, he's feeling the pressure. I mean, he's an old dude, okay? He's an old dude. And she's really pressing him because, she knows her father. She knows how to extract things from him because, she's his caretaker. She's looking out for him. So he can't, completely piss her off because he knows he's vulnerable. So, going through this stuff and just talking. And at this point, it's my time to come up with a grand lie. And I was like, okay, the real deal is, and I know this is going to alarm you, but Jimmy is really, really troubled about his situation. and he's known that you've really put out for him. You've really worked very hard, and he has money. He just doesn't know where it is. And I'm a forensic accountant. I'm a great liar, right? And we found some of the money. And it's just he doesn't really know what the deal is, and he's just trying to feel his way because you've taken care of him. Then it's like you put the stuff in storage. You lost the storage unit. I know that you have gone through undue hardship looking after your dad, and he just wants to make sure that you're going to be taken care of. But he's a proud man, and he just doesn't like asking for help, and he hates being in this situation. And she's like, "Oh, Dad, it's okay. That is my dad. That's my dad. That's my dad." And she's crying and everything, and also probably relieved because she now knows there's money. And Jimmy's like, "Yeah, I didn't. It's just hard." And then the girls, once again, she's sharp, right? Because she's like, "How much?" And it was crazy. It was crazy. I said, "Well, we currently know where there's over 200,000." And she said, "Really? So there'll be more money than his, retirement, because his retirement money, Social Security, whatever, was paying for the home." And she was chipping in a little bit. And it was just really, really weird because she's like an accountant, which is so funny. She's an accountant, but she doesn't know everything. She has no clue because he kept a lot of stuff from her. So we started putting stuff up together. He started sharing, opening up records, and she's just like, "Oh God, this is such a relief. This is such a relief." And at that point, I leave and let them talk it out. And as I'm leaving, she's like, "What is your number? I really want to talk to you." I was like, "Oh shit, I didn't want her number. I didn't really want to talk to her." And Jimmy's like, "I'll give it to you." And I was like, "Cool, I'm out." So I left, right? And the next day I was like, "Hey, just let me know when the coast is clear and I'll bring you the stuff. Or what, if you want, I'll rent a unit for you, pay for it for a year, and you can just put your stuff there, because clearly she's all over you, man. She's everywhere." And he's like, "Oh God, that would be very helpful." So we meet up at the unit and give him the stuff, and he's like, now that he's like, "I just fessed up and told her, about the money and everything." And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "No, I told her about the money." Because the thing is, when Jimmy blanked out, he forgot stuff, and when he came back, it took him a minute to remember everything. So long story short, once he was on, dude was worth like $6 million, about $6 million. And, he has had this money overseas. The dude was a rocket scientist, okay? If they can't figure out shit, no one can figure out shit. So then it's like he made her the trustee, and she called me, and, she's just like, "I really want to thank you. You helped me, and you helped my dad, and, you just really, really helped. And I want to take you to dinner, and, just to show my appreciation." And I'm like, "Okay," because, like I said, this chick was just funny. And no, she was not fine and big ass. No, she was just a regular old chick. And I was like, "Okay." So we go to dinner and everything, and, she thinks she's real nice. And we part ways, and as we part ways, she gives me an envelope with a check for $5,000 and says thanks. And that was the end of the story. Yes, a unit that I got for under $100 yielded a lot of money. A lot of money. At this point, she's feeling pretty generous. She's got a lot of loot. She's good. I mean, seriously, she's good. And I kept up with Jimmy here and there, talked to him, everything. Like I said, he was cool. But unfortunately, when he started to go through his episodes, they were more pronounced, they were longer, and he was coming back less and less. And just got to the point, he never came back. So, it's kind of sad because, dude was a hell of a dude in my opinion, because he was smart as shit. Dude was smart as fuck because of some of the stuff he did. And he set his kid up pretty nice, pretty nice. All right, and this is Glendon, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, so this is just us and all the people there on the street. If you are still here, I'm going to make this special offer to you. If you have bought one of the Hustler packages, I'll know because I'll have your email address. You will get the first month of the Hustler Mindset Project for free if you bought one of the Hustler packages. Just letting you know, this offer will expire 30 days from the posting of this video. So if you see this video a year later, it is no longer valid. And now I'll see you on the good side.